Alright, without further ado, let's get this weekly analysis started. This is the second week of August, and we have a couple pairs pretty much the same as last week, a little bit different, but if you have been watching the videos, you kind of get the gist of the pairs I trade and how I break them down. So this week is going to be similar. We're going to go over some pound pairs at first because those are all kind of similar. DJ going to be a little bit different than the other pound pairs, and then we have gold and then some crypto and maybe even US 30. So I'm just going to get right into it. All right, we're going to start with the pound US dollar today, and we're going to start on the daily. Why not? Okay, so I'm looking at this daily time frame, and what we saw this past week was a lot of downwards pressure, and that's mainly because the dollar index had a lot of strength, and there was some GBP news in the middle of the week that caused some very crazy movements, and so overall the market decided to push downwards. Now I feel like that downwards movement isn't completely done yet. I think we're going to see one more slight move to the downside, maybe a large move, but I'm only looking at the smaller move right now, which is around 100-ish pips. We'll get into that. So if we take a look at this daily time frame, what I'm expecting is pretty much this next daily candle or two to push down into these lows right here. Specifically, this is going to be the first target. Like I said, I just want that in and out around 100-ish pips. And from there, it's possible we take another short or we'll react to whatever the market does. I do have a 1.195 also marked up, which is about 40 pips lower than the initial target, and that has a really good chance of getting hit as well. And from there, we'll see what happens. So if this next daily candle or two is going to come down here first, it's going to make that wick on the top of the daily candle. Now, I don't think it's going to be a massive wick just based off of the structure, which we'll get into. We'll just get into right now. So this is what we're looking at. We had a nice push from 1.22 down to 1.20, and now, like I said, I think we're going to start this week off with this low being touched out. So even if this market is going to push and continue up to like 1.23 or something like that, I think first, before it does that, it's going to push down. It's going to take this low out. To me, the market just doesn't seem like that was the bottom right there and that we're going to continue up. I just really feel like we're going to have some more sell pressure come in. Now, let's go to the 2 hour to see this a little bit more clear. And what I'm really looking at here is these three big candles. So we have 1, 2, 3. Now, there's a difference between these, okay? So look at this first one, and we can see how price pushed down, but then price pulled all the way back to here and actually spiked above that high right here. And if we take a look at the second one, we can see what happened. Price pulled all the way back up into this range right here before pushing down again. Now, the difference between this one and the other two is I believe we're not going to pull all the way back up to this range. I think we're going to kind of stay down here, and we're just going to pull back up a little bit before we continue down towards these lows right here. This is the target. I have 1.199 essentially. So what that's going to look like is essentially I want to see this next daily candle make a high that is higher than this wick right here. Specifically, I want to see price tap right above 1.21 and probably not go higher than 1.213. So this line right here is more of a guide to where the stop loss is going to be above, and the entry is going to be right in this realm right here, right around this line, maybe slightly above it if we can snipe it. But there's honestly not a whole lot other information for this analysis. It's very simple. Right off the bat, I'm just looking to see price pull up into here around 30 to 40 pips, and then we're going to hit it with a sell, and that is a little over 100 pips to the target. And from there, like I said, it is possible, depending on what happens after it hits this level. I'm going to give price a little bit of time. It's possible that we buy this up to 1.24, almost 1.25 essentially. That is very possible, but for now I think what we're going to do is just wait and see, because it's possible as well that price actually just continues down. Given the strength of the dollar index right now, it's very possible that we see this thing just start to drop down towards 1.18. So we'll adapt and react, but for now, that's what I'm looking for, is this move right here. What's up, Sean? So with this short right here, that is going to translate over into two other pound pairs. Okay, so we're going to start on these other pairs on the 2 hour, because you kind of already get the idea of what I'm looking at here. So we'll go right into the pound CAD. Okay, so this is the pound CAD 2H chart. Same sort of thing as you can see here. What I want to see is a slight push up into this area of liquidity. As you can see, price dumped, it pulled all the way back in here, stalled out for a day, and then it pushed away again. And I think what we're going to see here is a slight move back into this realm of sell orders. And once we fulfill some more sell orders, that is when I think we're going to take a short down into the range of these wicks. And again, kind of like the pound dollar, it's possible, it's very possible that if the pound dollar continues to go down, that we see pound CAD continue to go down and maybe even touch 1.54. However, I don't feel confident enough looking at this chart to say that is what's going to happen, but I do feel confident that we are going to get this push down. And again, very similar to the pound US dollar, this is just over 100 pips. So kind of with that, we're looking at basically starting off the week with a pound short. So pound US dollar short, and that is ultimately affecting pound CAD and pound Aussie. For me, I mean, it might affect other pound pairs, but these are the two that I'm looking at for the short. And again, we'll get into the pound yen in a minute, because we could get a short on that. But this is the pound Aussie chart, a little bit different. The structure isn't as clear as the other ones. Okay, the other charts are very clear. This one's a little different. It's just the pound Aussie. This market specifically, the Aussie has a huge impact on this. So that's why the structure is different. But overall, I think even if this market is going to go up into this level or even higher to this level, before it does that, it's going to pull down here. And obviously, there's the chance that it doesn't do that and we continue to trend down and continue to short this. That's kind of the idea. Was the past weeks we were shorting off of these levels. We even shorted right here, and then we closed that and we took a long, and then we took a short again up here, and now we're looking to short that one more time, or maybe a couple more times. We'll see. And again, as you can see, just over 100 pips. So yeah, pretty much overall recap: pound US dollar, pound Canadian dollar, and the pound Aussie dollar. I'm just pretty much looking to get like 100 pips short off the start of the week after we see a slight move up, and from there, after that trade is complete, we'll kind of let the market breathe a little bit and show us what it wants to do. Does it want to continue down? Do we take another short? Does it want to push up? Do we take a long? We will address that when the information prints out. Now, let me touch on the pound yen, because this one's a little different. Okay, so this market is highly impacted by the yen basket, and when the pound dollar is pushing down, this market still can push up, and it could trend up for days even if the pound dollar is trending down, just because of how impacted it is by the yen basket. And that's kind of what we've seen this past week here. The pound dollar was dropping, but the pound yen, we got some very good buys off of this wick right here, and we got some. This was the pound news. Probably could have taken the short there, but we just closed the long from here to here, closed the long out. News reacted, and we tapped into this level again. So we bought in a second time, and then closed out a vast majority of the trade. I think I closed like 75% of my position right before the market closed up in here, just because we know it's the weekend. This is 200 pips almost, so that was 400 pips total, and it would be the smartest decision just to take some of that off the board and collect that profit and then reassess and do what we need to do next week, which is currently right now. So overall, what I'm looking to see on the pound yen in simple terms is I want to take in another buy right here with the target of 164.4. Okay, once we hit 164.4, it is possible that we short it. It's possible that it breaks that and we take a long. Anything's possible, really, if you think about it. But that is going to be the first target where we close the entire trade out, and then we'll see what happens. Now, before that long opportunity, similar to the other pound pairs that we were just looking at with that short, I have the highs of this area right here marked because it is very possible that price pulls up 60, 70 pips right here, and then it pushes down with the rest of the pound pairs 150 pips, and that short is definitely something that I would want to be a part of. I mean, if we're shorting the pound US dollar, pound CAD, the pound Aussie, and then the pound yen also lines up, we can short all of the pounds, right? Big shorts on the pounds to start off the week. I mean, we're talking probably around 500 pips total if you combine all four markets. The difference is with the pound yen, once we get down here, the motive is without question a buy into 164. So on the daily time frame, let's just take a look at this real quick. We can see we tapped into these lows right here. This specifically, this daily low. See how price chopped around here? And this is the last point in time, or yeah, point in time. Price pulled right to this price point, and then it took off. So I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to. You see how it pushed up, pushed down, pushed up, pushed down. All this choppiness, all this sideways, and then this is the last time it touches this area, and then it never comes back since. So what price did is price pushed down to that level, and we had some massive buy pressure come in. I mean, look at the size of this wick right here. And that's why we bought it on the low of this next daily candle. We bought literally right on the bottom. Right on the bottom. It was gorgeous. And if we look, price pushed up, and again, this push down was because of the news. If that news didn't happen, we probably would have not pulled back to that area. And then we bought it again on the bottom right here on I think it was right on the end of this day, and then I bought a second time on the low of the next day on Friday, and then we closed that on the high because we just knew that, I mean, why not? Why would we not close some of the profits out? Let me go like this. Yeah, that looks way better. So taking a look at this daily time frame, without all these lines in here, I know the chart's kind of chaotic right now, but what I'm expecting is this next day or two, but probably one, this next daily candle to at some point reach down into this low right here, and then we're going to take a buy from this area up into this realm. It actually should be right there. I think I moved that because of the 4 hour. Yeah, let me double check. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna keep it right where it is now. That must have accidentally been moved. So 164.6, I thought that looked a little low earlier. That's the real buy target. So and you can see how that lines up very well. If we start here and then we just look left across the board, look how price respects that very well. Just a beautiful level at 164.6. So yeah, that's the difference with the pound yen compared to the other ones, is that even if like the pound US dollar, if this wants to continue downwards, if the dollar index continues to show a lot of strength and the pound comes down to 1.18, which is a very good possibility, even with that happening, I'm definitely looking to long the pound yen here because the yen basket is going to go down. There's absolutely no fundamental strength in the yen at all right now. The only reason it's going up is for just a healthy pullback, and then it just continues to go down. Let me just throw that on here for a minute. So you see how we pumped up into these levels right here, touched this high out, and then we drained. We pulled back slightly, pushed again. So what I'm expecting is some form of pullback, okay? Some form of pullback, and then another push down again. And that pullback will also help the pound yen push up into here, and then if the pound dollar starts dropping, that'll help this drag down, and then we can long it to 164.6. So that's it for the pound pairs. Next, let's go over gold. So gold this past week was brilliant. We had a very minor buy to start the week. I think it was like 100 pips or something like that. And then price pushed down into these levels of 1755, where we bought not once, we bought 2 times, right here and right here. And the target was pretty much this level. I ended up closing some of that trade out around this point, right around like 1780 is where I started taking profits because of NFP. So this is what happened on NFP, this huge dump, and even before NFP, what I was looking for is a pullback into this area right here. These lines I haven't moved since like Thursday, and I was just watching what happened on NFP. Probably could have caught the sell here, but lessons learned. I mean, I didn't take any trade up in here. We did try shorting it right here to go to 1770, and it just didn't want to do that yet. And then just after swap, the entry presented. So yeah, I probably could have taken the short right here, but oh well. What I'm expecting is overall 1805 to be hit. And before we hit 1805, we need to pull back down a little bit. So let's just go all the way down to the 5-minute time frame, okay? Because gold loves to play on the small time frame. So what I'm looking for is pretty much just price to pull back slightly into this area. I want to see it come under the VWAP and get into the where the most volume was traded at, around this area. And the first target I'm going to take partials on is around 180, 160 pips, right in this point, because it is possible that after price hits this area of where price sold off, there's probably sell orders here, and it's probably going to have a reaction to it. So it makes sense to close some partials at like 160, 170 pips, and then secure the whatever's left remaining on the entry. And then from there, just simply wait. Does price kind of just slowly make its way up to 1805, or do we pull back and do we get another entry? But overall, I mean, I don't want to go like too deep into this because there's not really, it doesn't have to be, so I don't want to do it, you know, if it's unnecessary. So yeah, that's pretty much just what I'm looking for, is price to pull back and make some form of wick on today's candle, and then I'm looking to long it from pretty much right around 1770, and then once we hit 1770, yeah, 1788 is going to be the first target, and then 1805 is the next target, because that is this area. But overall, I am completely bullish on gold. If we take a look at some of the past times, price was kind of in the same flow as what it's doing today. We can see, look, price started this uptrend. We had some pullbacks, pushed up, dropped, and then you would expect at this point, perhaps, maybe price is going to pull back a little bit more. Maybe it's going to touch this level. Maybe it's going to tap into this liquidity. In reality, it doesn't need to. If it has the strength and the momentum, it's just going to keep going. It's just going to keep trending up. And that's kind of what I'm expecting here. It's just for it to keep trending up. And at some point, we'll probably get a major pullback. But I am not expecting that now. This, I mean, from 1795, I mean, that's 300 pips right there. This was 300 pips. So these two are actually pretty decently sized pullbacks. They just don't look like it because the trend is upwards. So there is an instance where price kind of trickles its way up and then it pulls back just to where price opened at, essentially right around here, and then it goes up. So what the picture I just painted is simply it doesn't come back down to this area. If that happens, then we'll just take the entry right in here on New York session tomorrow, but I am expecting it to pull back down to 1770 for now. But like I said, overnight, like by the time I go to bed, which is a little bit before London, I mean, if price is pushing up a little bit, then it's likely gonna be that, hold on, it's likely gonna be that next week tomorrow morning we buy around 1773. But we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. Sorry, my phone ringing just kind of threw my attention off a little bit. So we got the pound shorts, right? Pound dollar and all the other ones, we got them shorting. Pound yen, we have a short, but overall looking just to buy it. And then we have this gold buy. So now let's just take a look at Bitcoin. And that's I'll probably just touch on US 30 slightly, but I'm still kind of learning US 30. So I'm not going to do like a crazy deep breakdown because, yeah, I'm still learning it. We'll go to the 2 hour, we'll go to the daily time frame. So we've been shorting this thing for a minute. We actually had a potential long right here. I personally didn't take it. When price was pushed down right here, I knew that we were going to come up in between these levels, which is around 100 pips, and it did. I don't know why I didn't take the buy. I definitely should have. We've been shorting pretty much since the top right here, right in the 24,000. We've shorted. We shorted right here. We shorted before NFP. Pretty much all of those got closed right here. And the only position I have left is the one from NFP right at 23,400, which is the top of this daily candle right here. So it's an interesting spot. The dollar index looks like it's going to be gaining strength, and what that would essentially mean, or what that would theoretically mean, is that Bitcoin would correlate negatively and Bitcoin would push down. Now, if you mix that with the fundamentals of A, we're in a recession, and B, kind of tied to A, there's not really people that are jumping out of their beds to go put money into crypto right now, especially as it's I mean, if we compare where price is today to the all-time high, which was late last year, or even the price of March this year, I mean, it's way far down. And then you mix that with everything else going on and inflation and all that, people just aren't, they're not spending money on crypto like we used to. And I think that's going to help drive price down, because if money is not being injected into the market, it's not going to go up. It's going to trend downwards. One second. I got to respond to this message actually. Okay. So going forward with Bitcoin, kind of with that backstory in place, what I'm expecting, what I'm looking for is, if this is actually going to go down, I think we're definitely going to pop back up into mid 23,000s. It's possible even that we go to 24,000 way up in this realm. However, just from looking at this structure, let's go left to right and we'll start right here. We push down, we grab liquidity, actually got an entry right at the top of this wick right here. Push down again, we close most of the shorts there. And from this point, this level was marked on and this level was marked on. And what I was expecting is price to pull up and touch kind of the higher end of this, which it did exactly. And then what happened is it dropped, went sideways and dropped again, and it broke all these levels, broke all the structure. And when price was down here, that's when I said again, NFP is coming. Price is probably going to pull back up in between these daily levels, which are these, one more time before pushing down. And that's exactly what happened. Which this exact point in time is when I was almost decided on buying and hedging the short, but oh well. Price pushed back up in here again, and it's been sideways since. After NFP, this right here was NFP, and it's been completely sideways all weekend, which is pretty typical. Normally price doesn't move that much on Bitcoin during the weekend. So what I would like to see is a high, a spike above this candle. Okay, I want to see price push above this candle right here and create a spike. Let me just turn my sound off actually and go like this. So if we can come up in here and we can stop and we can start turning around again, I'm going to add one more sell entry, and from there the first target is going to be 20.3 thousand right here. Second target is 18,000, and obviously the swing target is 12,000, but we'll probably take a couple intraday trades in between, unless it does some crazy stuff like this and just absolutely falls off. I'm not expecting that at all, but like it's obviously possible, so I don't want to rule it out. And that's pretty much it. Ethereum, same thing, but I think we're going to spike into this realm up here. I don't know why that mark is there. Right, spike above this high, which is equivalent to the Bitcoin high, and push down. And US 30, I'm just going to go to the low time frame and just give a very simple, this is what I'm looking for. I want to see price push up into this high, these highs again, okay, right above this level, and short down to right in here, okay. So from here to here, which is about 300 pips, just in and out, and from there I'm going to wait, okay. I just have a very strong feeling that if the market is going to buy and go into the 33,000s, first it's going to come down here and fill these orders, and if it's going to dump down into low 32,000s, first it's going to pull back up in here, okay. So what that means simply is it's going to pull in here, and then it's going to push down to here, and then we wait, and then we see what happens. We give it time to breathe, give it time to print out candles, and then we'll reassess and take the next best trade. But simply put, that's what I'm looking for, is a short from 32,880 down into 32,500s essentially. That's it. That's all we got this week. I hope that was simple, easy to understand. I hope you all enjoyed that, and I hope you have a profitable week. See you next time.